Scotland, a dreamlike land. At least that's how I imagined it. A land full of stories, myths, and legends. Whenever I heard the word Highlands, I felt an overwhelming longing to visit them. The same for the Isle of Skye, where countless movies have been filmed. This is my first trip to Scotland. I'm excited, nervous, I can't wait to see it. And I'd love to invite you to come along on this journey with me. I want to share my feelings, give you some tips along the way. I hope my English is somewhat decent, and I hope that there aren't too many mistakes in this post. Please bear with me. Traveling to Scotland, there are several options. By plane, through the Eurotunnel, by ferry to Dover, or directly to Edinburgh if you want to avoid the long drive through England. I chose the ferry from Dunkirk to Dover. I love being at sea and I'm looking forward seeing the white cliffs of the English coast. And I really want to travel, so I don't mind the long drive. It's over 1,200 miles to Isle of Lochalsh. I picked this place because it's right before the Isle of Skye. Wow, that's a long journey. The journey begins. I reach Dunkirk. Everything is well signposted. Through border control, then waiting in line for the big ferry. Full of anticipation, I drive onto the ferry and head up to the deck. I hear the seagulls screeching, smell the sea and the diesel engine, and then finally, the ship departs. I enjoy the crossing. In less than 2 hours, the white cliffs of Dover appear on the horizon. I'm pretty nervous about driving on the left. It's been ages since I last drove in England. I focus on the left lane marking. That helps me get used to it. Things get interesting at the Dartford crossing bridge, where you have to pay a toll. I totally forgot about that, but no big deal. You can pay it online later. The drive is exhausting, but I'm still glad to be on the road. By late afternoon, I stop and look online for a place to stay. I go with the Yorkshire Hotel in Harrogate. It looks like an old castle. I enjoy the evening, but then crash into bed, completely exhausted. The next morning, first things first, a proper English breakfast. Finally, I've arrived in Scotland. I see trucks loaded with so-called tiny houses. I've booked one myself, though mine will be much smaller. The land is still flat, but soon mountain ranges start appearing on the horizon. The main road is busy. I need to stay focused. A quick stop off the road with a breathtaking view of the vast landscape. A little taste of the Highlands. Then I pass by a romantic lodge by the river Pattack, the Gate Lodge, which can be rented and is apparently very popular with couples. I get out and walk along the riverbank. The river flows into Loch Laggan. It's absolutely stunning here, and I soak in the view of the lake and mountains. Freedom and vastness come to mind. And the landscape reminds me a bit of Canada, the most beautiful country I've traveled to so far.
Then, finally, I arrive in the Highlands. Welcome to Skye and Lochalsh. That's what the sign says.
The breathtaking scenery instantly washes away my exhaustion. Yes, this is Scotland, just as I imagined it.
I head towards Dornie, about 10 kilometers from Isle of Lochalsh.
And it has one major highlight I've been looking forward to: Eilean Donan Castle, the legendary Highlander castle. The atmosphere couldn't have been more perfect this evening. I'm absolutely overwhelmed.
Wow,
Ja, was für ein Empfang hier. Ist das nicht fantastisch? Die Burg spiegelt sich im Wasser, die Sonne scheint drauf. Ich bin einfach überwältigt.
At the end of this long journey, my little tiny house is waiting for me. I grab a beer and climb up the hill behind it. The view is incredible. I can see the bridge leading to Skye, the harbour, and I feel completely happy. Skye, the Isle of Mist and Clouds. I can't wait to go there tomorrow. The next morning I meet Murphy, my host's dog, a sweet little guy. Looks like he wants to come with me. Now for the first time I'm on Skye, the largest of the Inner Hebrides at around 1,700 square kilometers. The weather is looking better today. The island has so many sights to see. Some, like Old Man of Storr and the Quiraing, are absolute musts for me. But today I'm heading to Portree, the island's capital. My eyes can't rest for a second. The roads are narrow and the trucks drive pretty fast, but that doesn't really faze me. The drive through this breathtaking landscape is overwhelming. The mountains are so much bigger than they appear on camera.
Then I spot a ferry and take a spontaneous detour. Ships and ferries always awaken my longing for faraway places. This one goes to the nearby island of Rasay.
And of course, what would Scotland be without its sheep? They seem to be everywhere. Almost in Portree. Portree itself is beautiful, though not very big. I send my drone up. It captures so much more than I ever could. The camera reveals the true magic of this place: mountains, water, and an endless sky. let myself be talked into a boat tour. They say you can see whales and dolphins. I've done this before in Canada, and as I've mentioned, I love being out at sea. The view of the cliffs and the towering mountains behind them takes my breath away. Seagulls glide in the wind. Then the boat picks up speed. It's fast, and I'm loving it. After 45 minutes, still no dolphins. We make a short stop on the island of Rona. The landscape here could just as well be in Scandinavia. We're invited for a drink, real Scottish whiskey. On the way back, I've given up hope of seeing dolphins. But as they say, hope dies last. What a fantastic day.
Day 4, off to Plockton, not far from my base in Kyle of Lochalsh.
I reach Plockton, and even at the entrance to the village, the beautiful white houses catch my eye. I park by the harbour. In the distance, I can already see sailboats out on Loch Ness. From a nearby house, I hear music and follow the sound. I haven't met many Scots on this trip, but my first impressions hold true here as well. Scots are polite, welcoming, sociable, and down to earth. Plockton really does seem to be one of the most beautiful fishing villages in the area. The place is well kept and charming. It's truly idyllic, the white houses contrasting against the deep blue sea, and cows on an offshore island. I've never seen anything like that before. At low tide, they can simply walk back to land. Plockton is nestled in a sheltered bay along Loch Ness, a sea loch stretching from the Applecross Peninsula, which I also plan to visit all the way here. Everywhere you look, there are little islands. In the distance, you can see the towering peaks of the Torridon Massif, a paradise for climbers. Palm trees? In Scotland? Yep, you can find them in Plockton. This place has such a unique vibe. Tourism is big here, and I definitely want to try some traditional Scottish food later. But first, I'm drawn to a whiskey shop that also sells whiskey for Plockton Distillery. I meet Theo, a man with German roots, who gives me some interesting insights. And of course I get to try a few samples.
Das ist wie andere Zeiten gehen.
Was ich mich immer frage, den Torf für den Whisky, wo bekommen die den her? Ich meine, es gibt so viele Whisky-Destillerien.
Ja, also es kommt einfach aus der Erde, man schneidet es aus.
Now time to try the legendary Scottish dish haggis as a burger. If you don't know what haggis is, well, let's just say I'll spare you the details of the ingredients. To finish off the day, I take a quick stroll to the pier, where colourful fishing and tour boats bob on the water. Back in
Isle of Lochalsh.
In the evening light, I drive up to the viewpoint on the hill, and I witness an absolutely magical sky with the most intense rainbow I've ever seen. In the distance lies the Isle of Skye. Tonight it truly lives up to its name, the Isle of Mist and Clouds. Mist over the western Scottish Highlands. Here at Loch Ness stands Eilean Donan Castle, famous from movies like Highlander, Braveheart, Rob Roy, and even James Bond. But it was really the movie Highlander that put the castle on the tourist map. Today, it's the most photographed building in Scotland. I have to admit, the movie played a big role in inspiring me to come here. The castle sits on a small headland which turns into a tiny tidal island when the water rises. Then, it can only be reached via a stone footbridge, the one every Highlander fan knows so well. To me, the castle looks slightly tilted, probably just an optical illusion. Eilean Donan means Donan's Island, is named after a Celtic martyr from the 6th century who is said to have built a structure here. Standing in a real-life movie location like this is something special. Walking across the bridge feels surreal. Images from the movie pop into my head, like the scene where the clan of the MacLeods marches into battle. Ironically, the MacLeods never actually owned this castle. It was the stronghold of the Scottish MacRae clan, the Scots and their clans. The word clan itself comes from Gaelic and originally meant children, or descendants. Back in the day, it referred to a group of families living in a well-defined geographical area. If you think the castle is ancient, you'd be wrong. The version we see today was only completed in 1932, after 20 years of reconstruction. The original castle, first built in the 13th century, was destroyed by the English. Since 1955, Eilean Donan Castle has been open to the public as a museum, drawing over 300,000 visitors a year. Today I'm off to see one of Skye's biggest highlights, the Old Man of Storr. From miles away, the towering silhouette of the mountain and its rock formations comes into view. I drive through a dreamlike landscape. On my right, the deep blue waters of Loch Ness. This is classic single-track road romance, just as you'd picture it in Scotland. Light and shadow play across the scenery. It's like a painting brought to life. To the north of Skye rises the mountain the Storr, which simply means big. This dramatic rock formation has been a backdrop for several films, including late Alien movie Prometheus. The Old Man of Storr itself is a bizarre sight. This towering 48-meter-high rock needle dominates the landscape. Even from a distance, it's clearly visible. Right by the road, there's a parking area where the hike begins. My drone shows the long trail winding up the mountain, a rocky climb. Depending on fitness level, it takes anywhere from 45 to 90 minutes to reach the top. It's incredibly windy, and I'm amazed that my little drone manages to stay steady and capture smooth footage. I have to say it again. The landscape is absolutely breathtaking. No matter where you look, the views are stunning. And the higher I climb, the more imposing the Old Man of Storr becomes. A true giant, standing like a guardian of the mountains. I'm completely in awe of this natural wonder. I'm making a quick detour to Inverness before heading to Black Isle. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of Inverness? Probably Outlander. Well, I definitely want to check out Craig na Dun too. Inverness is the largest city and cultural hub of the Scottish Highlands. Looking over this beautiful city by the River Ness, I explore some churches and the castle before doing a bit of shopping. I end up buying a Scottish cap, a jacket, and a scarf, giving myself a stern Highlander look in the mirror. Now, I'm on my way to Chanonry Point on Black Isle. The drive takes me through picturesque coastal villages with those classic Scottish houses. I leave the main road and head towards the sea through a flat, open landscape. This is a peaceful, remote place, and it always feels so good to be by the sea. The scenery is stunning, rolling hills, distant mountains, and the soundtrack, the waves, the wind, and the calls of the seagulls. A fishing boat glides across the water, picture perfect, and then there it is, a dolphin's head pops out of the sea. Wow! Moments later, more dolphins appear, playing surprisingly close to the shore. Sure, you see this kind of thing in nature documentaries all the time, but witnessing it in real life? Absolutely magical. On the way back, I experience yet another breathtaking Highland spectacle. Scotland is truly something special. Just before Dornie, I stopped once more. I can say, now I caught the spirit of Scotland. I have a little bit English blood in my veins. My grandma is from England. Now it turns Scottish. The world can be so incredibly beautiful. Once again, I find myself on Isle of Skye, this time heading towards Neist Point, the island's westernmost tip, where an old lighthouse stands. Scotland's rural churches have a certain charm, simple, understated, yet beautiful in their own way. And today, it's a full-on sheep and single-track road kind of day. I can't help but laugh. This particular sheep seems to be mocking me. I take a short break on the way to Neist Point. The breeze is fresh, carrying the scent of the sea, grass and peat. Wow, what a view, what a place. A sturdy tripod is a must in this wind, yet even then, strong gusts make the camera shake. I'm filming with a mirrorless camera and various zoom lenses, trying to capture the raw, untouched beauty of this land. Now, I'm getting close to my destination. To the left, a massive mountain rises, and in the distance, a waterfall cascades into the sea. It looks straight out of a fantasy movie. Then, my first glimpse of Neist Point, a long rocky peninsula stretching into the ocean. It almost looks futuristic. Up here, you can still see remnants of an old cable system, probably once used to transport building materials. The trail winds steeply downward in tight, rocky switchbacks. A lone sheep stands guard, as if it's watching over the lighthouse, which sits impressively on the cliff's edge. People have built small stone sculptures here, blending perfectly with the rugged landscape. I find a rock to sit on and just take it all in. The crashing waves, the seabirds effortlessly riding the wind. I spend a lot of time on the road, but every trip through the breathtaking Highlands is an adventure. At over 36 kilometers long, Loch Ness is more than just a famous monster myth. It's a stunning and dramatic lake. So many theories swirl around the creature. Some say it's just unusual wave patterns, floating logs, or optical illusions. There are even massive fish here, like catfish. But no matter what, the legend of Nessie keeps drawing thousands of visitors every year. I didn't see a monster either. Like Armadale Castle, Urquhart Castle is mostly ruins now. but you can still imagine how impressive it must have been in its prime. It's a huge site with a rich history, conquered by King Edward the Fern in the 13th century, then deliberately blown up in the 17th century by the Grants, who didn't want the advancing Jacobites to take it. The entrance fee isn't exactly cheap, but you do get a lot for it. There's plenty of historical info about how people lived back then, and signposts throughout the ruins tell you what each room once was. Proudly, the Scottish flag waves over the castle. But honestly, you don't need magic, druids, or fairy spells to fall under Scotland's charm. Just setting foot in this land is enough to get swept away by its spell. From Kyle of Lochalsh, it's another 90-minute drive. I feel a little nervous. The notorious Bealach pass lies ahead. The weather is rough, fittingly Scottish. Stopping at an old graveyard only adds to the atmosphere. You see these ancient, weathered graves quite often here, many with Celtic crosses. It feels like the gravestones want to tell stories, whispering legends from another time. Applecross is raw, wild, and sparsely populated, nature at its most overwhelming. Suddenly, something catches my eye by the roadside, an antler. Seeing such magnificent creatures up close in the wild is mesmerizing. The stag turns to look at me, then stands tall, as if to say, "This is my land." Then, with one graceful leap over the guardrail, he rejoins his herd. Now, I've reached Bealach infamous for its narrow, rough roads. It's seriously tight here. And of course, just as I think I've got it, a camper van comes straight at me. The landscape of Applecross is raw and rocky, untamed in a way that makes it completely unique. Translating Applecross literally would be misleading. The name actually comes from Gaelic and originally meant the retreat. Later it mixed with words related to the river Crossan, eventually meaning mouth of the Crossan River. The drive itself is the true highlight. Endless open landscapes, unlike anything I've seen in Scotland so far. Applecross is beautiful, but with only about 250 residents, it feels more like a destination than a must-see attraction. The Quiraing, one of Skye's most breathtaking mountain ranges, awaits. Alongside the Old Man of Storr, the Quiraing is one of the most spectacular mountain formations on Skye, and it's waiting for me. Located on the Isle of Skye, where I visited most of the major sites, getting there takes about 90 minutes. The drive itself is already an experience, with plenty of stunning stops along the way, like the Kilt Rock waterfall. And then, that mesmerizing view, vast, endless landscapes, the sea stretching out before me. I was out there just days ago, speeding across the waves on a boat from Plockton. The way the currents move creates an illusion. It almost looks like they're painting the Scottish flag onto the water. Finally, I reach the base of the Quiraing. The name comes from Gaelic and means rounded fold. The entire massif on the Trottenish Peninsula was shaped by a massive landslide. The sliding earth created the dramatic, bizarre rock formations on the eastern side, so iconic that one of them was used for the sword training scene between Ramirez and Conor MacLeod in the movie Highlander. The view, absolutely unreal. A breathtaking panorama, like something from another world. I drive to the parking area, where a narrow hiking trail winds its way up. The landscape is unlike anything else. Wild, overwhelming, spectacular. Time to say goodbye to Scotland. I leave my tiny house, take one last look at
Isle of Lochalsh,
my home for the past 2 weeks. But there's still one last stop on my journey, Craig na Dun, famous from the movie Outlander. Most fans of the show know that the legendary stone circle doesn't actually exist in real life. It's also not near Inverness. For filming, the stones were set up near Loch Rannoch. From Kyle of Lochalsh, it's about a 3-hour drive. I'm still deep in the Highlands, now in Perth and Kinross. The landscape changes, softer now, with rolling fields, forests. Just 3 kilometers to Kinloch Rannoch, a charming little village with an old church at its center, another 50 meters, then a left turn, and from there, it's just a matter of following the road. The scenery is stunning, and I can't wait to see the filming location in real life. After a few more kilometers, I arrive. I recognize the iconic hill on the left immediately. From up here, the view over Loch Rannoch is simply breathtaking. climbing the hill feels special, almost sacred. Even if you've never watched Outlander, there's something mystical, almost magical about this circle of trees. It feels right that Craignadoon is my final stop on this unforgettable trip through Scotland. A journey that, in many ways, felt like traveling through time. And tell me, who wouldn't be tempted to reach out, place a hand on one of the stones just to wait for a time warp? And just like that, time has skipped forward. I'm back on the ferry to Dover. A seagull drifts in the wind. The white cliffs fade into the distance. The journey has flown by in what feels like a heartbeat. As I sail home, I replay every moment in my mind. I am grateful, truly, deeply grateful. It was unforgettable. Thank you for coming along with me in this way. And if you haven't been to Scotland yet, if the thought of driving on the left side makes you hesitate, all I can say is, make the dream come true. Scotland is waiting for you.